warm welcome from the broadcasting crew and myself for joining us on ERi-TV English News Broadcast. Dear viewers, it's now exactly 10:30 p.m. Asmara time, and we're ready for a domestic and international report for May 16th, 2026. Reporting live from our headquarters in Asmara and inviting you to stay with us is Heaven Johannes, your news anchor for this session. Let's begin with the top stories. President Isaias Afwerki meets and holds talks with Egyptian delegation. Preparations for celebrating 35th Independence Day anniversary finalized. In our international, President Vladimir Putin to visit China following Trump's trip. And a senior Islamic State leader killed by U.S. and Nigerian forces. To begin with, President Isaias Afwerki received at Dandan Guest House in the late morning hours today a senior Egyptian delegation comprising Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdelati, Minister of Transport Lieutenant General Engineer Kamal Al-Wazir, and CEOs of several companies involved in the transport, energy and mining sectors. The extensive discussions centered on further enhancing all-round bilateral ties of cooperation, as well as regional and international issues of mutual importance. President Isaias underlined the significance of consolidating the all-round ties between Eritrea and Egypt to advance the mutual interests of the Eritrean and Egyptian peoples. In this respect, President Isaias expressed Eritrea's readiness to implement common projects in collaboration with Egyptian economic and trade companies. Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati, on his part, stated that the current visit was a manifestation and expression of the brotherly ties of friendship and cooperation that exist between the peoples of Eritrea and Egypt. The principal purpose of the visit, Dr. Badr noted, was to further consolidate economic and trade ties between the two countries in accordance with the guidelines charted out by President Isaias Afwerki and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. On the occasion, the two countries signed an agreement on marine transport for developing cooperation in the sector with a view to contributing to the development of international shipping on the basis of the principles of freedom of navigation. The agreement was signed by Eritrea's Minister of Transport and Communications, Mr. Berhane Tesfasilase, and Egypt's Minister of Transport, Lieutenant General Kamal Al-Wazir. Foreign Minister Osman Saleh also met with his Egyptian counterpart Dr. Badr Abdelati and discussed modalities for the implementation of the overall bilateral cooperation agreements reached between the two sides. Foreign Minister Osman underlined the significance of the visit by the senior Egyptian delegation and the importance of strengthening bilateral ties of cooperation at this crucial time of fluid developments in the Horn of Africa region. Dr. Badr, for his part, referred to the alignment of the views and positions of the two sides on vital regional and international issues and stressed the importance of expediting the implementation of mutually agreed development programs. Upon arrival at the Asmara International Airport, the senior Egyptian delegation was welcomed by Mr. Osman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs. In another news, Ambassador Zamada Takhla, Commissioner of Culture and Sports, announced that preparations for celebrating the 35th Independence Day anniversary under the theme Our Resilience, Our Guarantee have been finalized. Ambassador Zamada indicated that the celebrations have already commenced with schools' Independence Day week and are continuing with patriotic zeal. Ambassador Zamada went on to say that programs in Asmara will feature cultural performances at Bahti Maskaram Square on 19 May, cultural and artistic presentations at Cinema Roma on 20 May, stage drama at Cinema Asmara on 21 May, cultural and artistic programs in the main streets of Asmara on 22 and 23 May, as well as public gatherings. Likewise, national media outlets have started disseminating programs from 19 May, focusing on the overall journey of the struggle for independence, resilience and safeguarding national sovereignty, as well as the progress of overall national development programs and other related issues. Moving on, Mr. Takhastas Gadom, Director General of Infrastructure Development in Ansaba region, reported that over the past years of independence, major development programs worth over 2 billion natfa have been implemented. The programs include the construction of social service institutions, dams, urban planning projects, and roads, among others. Accordingly, Mr. Takhastas said that 141 dams with a capacity of holding over 40 million cubic meters of water, 191 educational facilities, and 41 health facilities have been constructed. He also said that surveys on over 26,000 hectares of land have been carried out and over 2,200 kilometers of dirt roads have been constructed. Mr. Takhasta went on to say that in Karen City, 22 kilometers of asphalt roads have been constructed, along with dirt roads connecting all the subzones. Commending government institutions and especially the community for the strong participation they demonstrated in the implementation of the development programs, Mr. Takhasta said that professional capacity has been gained for the effective implementation of future programs. Do stay tuned, dear viewers, for we shall be back with the international news after the short break. Welcome back. Now, the global arena. Russia's President Vladimir Putin will pay an official visit to China from May 19 to 20. President Putin and his Chinese counterpart President Xi Jinping plan to further strengthen the comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation between Moscow and Beijing, the Kremlin office said in a statement. President Putin is also scheduled to discuss economic and trade cooperation with Chinese Premier Li Qiang. Russia's news agency reported that the visit is timed to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation, a key Moscow-Beijing agreement signed in the year 2001. Last month, President Xi pressed for closer and stronger strategic coordination between Beijing and Moscow in a meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. President Xi also visited Russia in May last year and pledged to stand with Moscow against unilateralism and hegemonic bullying. News of President Putin's forthcoming trip arrives one day after United States President Donald Trump departed China following the first presidential visit to Beijing in almost a decade. Moving on, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has confirmed the killing of a senior Islamic State group leader in a joint operation with the United States. The operation was first announced by U.S. President Donald Trump, who described Abu Bilal al-Minuki as the second in command of ISIS globally and the most active terrorist in the world. Al-Minuki was declared a specially designated global terrorist by Washington in the year 2023. The killing marks another significant setback for Islamic State group, following the killing of its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in 2019. President Tinubu said in a statement that al-Minuki was killed along with several of his deputies during a strike on his compound in the Lake Chad Basin. The Nigerian military said the precision operation was made possible through the recently formed U.S.-Nigeria partnership and intelligence sharing efforts. It said al-Minuki had been promoted to head of General Directorate of States, making him one of the most senior figures within the global IS hierarchy. With this, we conclude our domestic and international reports for this session, dear viewers. Now the top stories once more. President Isaias Afwerki meets and holds talks with Egyptian delegation. Preparations for celebrating 35th Independence Day anniversary finalized. President Vladimir Putin to visit China following Trump's trip. And senior Islamic State leader killed by U.S. and Nigerian forces. This was World on Saturday with ERi-TV English news broadcast. Dear viewers, from all of us here, thank you for watching.